إلا أن يخافا ألا يقيما حدود الله. Allah says they cannot take anything unless إلا أن يخافا, unless both of them are scared ألا يقيما حدود الله, that they cannot establish the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the hudud are the boundaries of Allah. So now over here Allah is talking about khul'a. In the next 2-3 lines Allah is talking about khul'a. فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا يُقِيمَا حُدُودَ اللَّهِ, if both of them think they can't establish Allah's rights, فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِمَا فِيمَا افْتَدَتْ بِهِ, then she comes and she says, this is ajib, it's because generally Allah tells the man, if you can't treat your wife well, you can't do this, you can't do that, divorce her. But when it comes about a woman wanting khul'a, Allah doesn't say, if you can't hold it together, ask for khul'a. No, He says if both of you can't do it. It's ajib. Though Allah should have said over here that if you can't get along with them, then you can do khul'a. Allah doesn't say that. He says both of you can't get along with each other. He doesn't just blame the wife. He blames both of them. He says it's both of your job to get along. If you can't, it's not her issue. You don't say, oh, the girl was bad. Someone went to the Maulana and his wife, well, they say the Imam Sahib in the masjid, everyone says, yes Imam, yes Imam. When he goes home, he says, yes ma'am, yes ma'am. So the Imam Sahib's wife was a unique person who was very stern and strict, and whenever the students came to the Imam's home to take the Imam to the masjid, then, they always heard the wife yelling and this and that. So one day those students were like, Sheikh, she's a pain, isn't she? It's terrible. How kind of woman is this? Tell her, what does she do? He said, Bhai, how can I talk about my wife to you? She's my wife. As being my wife, hunna libasul lakum wa antum libasul lahunna. He said, okay. Few months later, they got divorced. And they said, Sheikh, she didn't deserve you. Yeah, she's not your wife anymore. Now tell us, what kind of woman was she? He said, Bhai, how can I speak about another man's future wife? He said, how can I speak about another man's future wife? Don't talk about other people. Talk about yourself. People who talk about other people are people who have nothing to talk about themselves. Anyway. فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا يُقِيمَا حُدُودَ اللَّهِ, Allah again brings the boundaries of Allah. Marriage is all about boundaries. فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِمَا فِيمَا افْتَدَتْ بِهِ, there's nothing wrong in if she says, I want something in return. Generally in khul'a, they ask for the meher back. They ask for the dowry back. However, it is not necessary that the husband wants the dowry. The husband can ask for anything. And it's something that's reasonable. If it's unreasonable, then they take it to the court or they take it to the council, and then they try to mediate and bring out a reasonable end to it. تِلْكَ حُدُودُ اللَّهِ فَلَا تَعْتَدُوهَا, these are the boundaries of Allah, don't cross them. وَمَنْ يَتَعَدَّ حُدُودَ اللَّهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ, whosoever crosses the boundaries of Allah, they are zalim, they are oppressors. فَإِن طَلَّقَهَا فَلَا تَحِلُّ لَهُ مِن بَعْدُ حَتَّى تَنكِحَ زَوْجًا غَيْرَهُ. How many divorces had he divorced his wife by now? 2. Allah said, الطلاق مرتان. Then we're on the third one. Allah says, فَإِن طَلَّقَهَا فَلَا تَحِلُّ لَهُ, if he divorces her a third time, she is not halal for him afterwards. حَتَّى, now look at the Arabic. I know you're all looking at the English, but look at the Arabic for a second, because your English translation is the opinion of your translator. You look at it. So in the Arabic, you see the word tankih, nakaha yankihu. What does nikah mean? To get married. Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi says tankih means to get married. Nikah means to get married. However, the Arabic word nikah, marriage, comes from the original word nakaha yankihu, which means to establish intimate relations. So Imam rahmatullah alayhi says that this word has two meanings. It has a surface level meaning and a deep meaning. Because the deep meaning also encompasses marital relations, therefore in order for halala to take place, not only does she have to be married, but also she has to establish relationships with her husband. And then they can. Imam Shafi says Allah only said marriage. He didn't say establish relations. Abu Hanifa said that is the deep meaning of it. The surface meaning is nikah. The deep meaning is intimate relation. Are you following or no? Yes? Only the wife. Only the wife. Because the husband doesn't have iddah.
فإن طلقها فلا جناح عليهما أن يتراجعا إن ظنا أن يقيما حدود الله وتلك حدود الله يبينها لقوم يعلمون.
If he divorces her before having 3 divorces, then there is nothing wrong. يتراجعا. What was the first type of talaq I told you? Raj'i. So over here Allah is indicating towards talaq raj'i. There's nothing wrong with him taking his wife back. That it is a good thing as long as he can treat her well.
وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَبَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ فَأَمْسِكُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ سَرِّحُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ.
Back in the day what they used to do was they had unlimited talaq. They'd divorce her. When her time would come, they would be like, I brought you back, you're my wife again. And then they'll say, well, you're divorced again. She would wait her time, and when her time is about to end, well, you're my wife again. And they would do that as a annoyance and a nuisance to her. So Allah says, وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ, when you divorce them, فَبَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ, and they've reached their time, فَأَمْسِكُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ, either treat them well, أَوْ سَرِّحُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ, or let them go, but make the divorce a beautiful divorce. Our divorces are very ugly. If you want to know how low Muslims can go, look at their divorces. And our divorces get very, very ugly, very dirty. We're not going to get to the 17th juz anytime soon. So I'll tell you a story, the 21st juz. Last year we did much faster than this, right? Last year they attended the last year I did about 15 juz? Last year I had done 15 juz. So, but I did it longer than this. I did it for 50 days. It was a longer time. And it was about give or take 100 hours. Inshallah. At this time we started a little later. We didn't do some of the weekends. From this weekend onwards, we're teaching after Dhuhr, inshallah. So bring your children, bring your family after Dhuhr on Saturday and Sunday, inshallah. Including this weekend. But this time, because everyone is taking notes, so I'm also enjoying it even more. And I'm going more into detail. Last time I didn't go into this much detail of talaq and all that, right? I just went right through it, right? I didn't do all this detail. When I was planning to do this Dora Quran, I was actually thinking of starting from the 15th juz where I left off last year. But then they said there's a lot of new faces. I said, okay, we'll do from where we started.
وَلَا تُمْسِكُوهُنَّ ضِرَارًا لِتَعْتَدُوا,
and don't hold them on oppressively so that you can harm them. You know, people just do things hona bolke. They do things just to annoy. Some people, you know, they do that stuff. You know someone is divorced. You know they're divorced. Aapke husband nahi nazar aa rahe? I don't see. This is our community problem. This is our community issue. We say things indirectly to hurt people. One man came to me a few days back. Which masjid are you with? Wait. You were with, what was it called? I'm like, I know exactly what the name is, but he's just trying to pull something. You're not going to get what out of it, what you're trying to get out of it from me. Because that's not appropriate. You don't say things. You don't go to a married woman, a young couple, and say, when are you having kids? Why aren't you? These are very disrespectful sentiments. And they're hurtful. We get too involved in people's lives. Don't be so involved. And our words have a weight to it. Be kind and gentle to one another. Anyway.
وَمَنْ يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ فَقَدْ ظَلَمَ نَفْسَهُ. Whoever does that, then they've oppressed themselves. وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا آيَاتِ اللَّهِ هُزُوًا. Don't make a joke out of Allah's rules. You marry when you want, you don't marry you want. I was telling you about Shi'as. There is a riwayat in amongst the Shi'as, and this is a batil and a completely wrong and made up narration. They said whosoever does mut'ah one time, he will be on the level of Hussein. And whosoever does it 2 times on the level of Hassan. And 3 times on the level of Ali. And on the 4 times on the level of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whoever does mut'ah. And the child born from mut'ah is this and that, and there's this whole... And mut'ah is basically going to someone saying, I'm marrying you for 2 hours, and this is the money, and this is it. This is basically just changing whatever they're doing outside. They're adding just a label to it. So someone said very beautifully, they said, you are saying a person does a mut'ah, and he can become Hussein, and you say you love Hussein, and you are giving the maqam of Hussein radiallahu anhu to a man who does mut'ah. We say that if all of the mu'mineen were to get together and do all of their deeds, then their level, the most righteous Muslim cannot even be equal to the lowest Sahabi radiallahu anhu. This is Hussein radiallahu anhu, Sayyid Shababi Ahl al-Jannah. The man got chopped up on the field of Karbala. Hada Hussein, muzammil bid-dima, muqatta'ul a'ba. Ya Muhammada. Zainab radiallahu anha, the granddaughter of Rasulullah, great-granddaughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, she sees Hussein radiallahu anhu being butchered, and she says, oh great-grandfather Muhammad, have you seen your Hussein today? How does he look? Let me tell you, everyone, when they bring their grandchild, they look to see, what is my grandchild wearing? What clothes are they wearing? What brand are they wearing? How do they look? She says, this is your Ladala Hussein, Ya Rasulullah. Muqatta'ul a'za, muzammil bid-dima, boti ho gaya, aur tana bana, aur libas pehna hua hai, apne khoon ka libas pehna hua hai, aur apni boti ki hui hai. Ya Rasulullah, today he's wearing clothes, but what clothes is he wearing? He's wearing clothes made of his own blood. And Hussein's body was chopped up into pieces, chopped up into little minced pieces. And you get this maqam from doing that? No. Someone said, who is better? Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahimahullah. Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahimahullah. I gave a lecture one time on it for about an hour and a half on his life and legacy. 2 years, about 2 years the man spent, and he changed the whole world. 2 years, that's it. His khilafat was only 2 years. Someone said, who is better, him or Muawiyah radiallahu anhu? Because unfortunately some of us have an allergy to Muawiyah radiallahu anhu. You don't name your kids Muawiyah anymore. Why? I know Muawiyah. There's the tashayyu' effect on us. Muawiyah radiallahu anhu was one of the Sahaba who used to write the wahi of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Him and Ali radiallahu anhu had disagreements, but when your father and your uncle have a disagreement, do you get involved? Why you chote? Stay where you are. Stay in your lane. Don't get involved. That's bado ki baat hai. Those are the elders. We're small people. Their differences were still better than our love for one another. Their differences had more love than our apparent love for one another. Muawiyah radiallahu anhu was in one battlefront. Ali radiallahu anhu on another battlefront. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu used to fight for Ali radiallahu anhu. But he used to have dinner at Muawiyah radiallahu anhu's camp. So at night time when people would see him, obviously it's Abu Hurairah, so everyone's mashallah, Sheikh. He'd come, he'd eat the food. Okay, I'm going back to my camp now. See you on the battlefield tomorrow. Look at how clean the hearts were. Sheikh, please eat with us. We'll see you tomorrow for the fight. He said, when it comes to the truth and haqq, Ali is on the haqq. But when it comes to food, Muawiyah is on the haqq. Muawiyah knows how to prepare a meal. He's Sham, he's from Syria. He was the governor of Damascus, Dimashq, Sham, for 2 decades. He was a politician. And this was the clean hearts. Anyway, so someone said, who's better, Muawiyah or Umar bin Abdul Aziz? So Abdullah bin Barak rahimahullah responded, he said, or Hassan Basri responded, he said, the dust that entered the nose of a horse that Muawiyah radiallahu anhu sat on while he was in the company of Rasulullah ﷺ is better than Umar bin Abdul Aziz. He said, forget about the man himself. The dust of his horse in the nose or in the hooves is better. Because that dust has witnessed Rasulullah ﷺ, and this dirt has not witnessed Rasulullah ﷺ. That dirt has seen Rasulullah ﷺ and has the suhbat of the Prophet. And when the Prophet was there, Jibreel and the Malaika, the mahal was different. What can I tell you about the mahal? When the Prophet of Allah passed away, the women began crying. You know why? They said, our heart is broken that the Prophet has passed. But you know why we've cried? Because the tasalsul of malaika has stopped. The coming of the malaika with wahi has stopped now. And our connection to Allah, which was a bond that we had where Allah would be talking to us, has officially ended. And our hearts are broken because of this. Anyway.
واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم وما أنزل عليكم من الكتاب والحكمة يعظكم به. And remember the ni'mat of Allah upon you and what Allah has revealed to you from the kitab and the hikmah. He advises you. واتقوا الله واعلموا أن الله بكل شيء عليم. Fear Allah and be mindful of Allah and know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. وإذا طلقتم النساء فبلغن أجلهن فلا تعضلوهن أن ينكحن أزواجهن إذا تراضوا بينهم بالمعروف. If a woman and a husband get an argument, they get divorced. Now they want to get back together. Parents, don't get involved. Allah's telling you over here, in-laws, stay out of it. The leading cause of divorce in America amongst the girls is in-laws. Learn to give your children a break. Learn to let them deal with their own issues. You know those protective mothers? No, you have to divorce her. Say this. If you want to learn something, my mother will be here. And I don't say this because my mother is here, but wallahi al-azim, in my life, I have not seen a woman treat a daughter-in-law in the way that my mother treats her daughter-in-law. Wallahi al-azim. You can go and ask her and speak to anyone in her family. In my knowledge, my mother never ever tells her to do something, makes up from a municipal to tell her. Never. And if my brother and sister-in-law ever got into an argument, always on her side. So one day my sister-in-law said, Ami, you never take his side, you always take my side. And she said, Beta, if I want to keep this marriage, I'm going to take your side. And taking his side means I'm going to dissolve this marriage. In my mom's phone, my sister-in-law's loving Beti. My own sister is her name. It's our joke at home, but the point is that learn that akhlaq and character. Why? It will benefit your homes. Everyone's homes have problems. No one's homes are perfect. But that in-law strife is a very difficult strife. I met a boy the other day. Wonderful young man. Wonderful young man. He was like, for 4 years we've been waiting to get married. And now my mom tells me to break it off. Why? No, because her mother treated my mother. What do you mean? You have to live the life, or she has to live, or your mother has to live the life. You have to live the life. Do what makes you happy. And parents, be there for your children's happiness. Let me understand what I'm about to say very openly and very clearly. It is better that they marry someone they like, and there's a possibility of a mistake, and things end. But at least the mistake was on their shoulders. If you get them married, and they were not ready, and their marriage dissolves, they will not forgive you till the day they die. They will, regardless of if they were okay later on. It's like, no. Do not force your children at all. Because if things go wrong, they will make you the blame. And there's nothing worse than feeling like you are responsible for your children's pain. Children don't realize the pain they're giving their parents when they say it's your fault. It's all because of you. Anyway. ولا تعضلوهن, don't prevent them أن ينكحن أزواجهن إذا تراضوا بينهم بالمعروف. If they marry and they are pleased with each other and they can establish the حقوق of Allah. ذلك يوعظ به من كان منكم يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر. That advice is given for those who believe in Allah in the final day. ذلكم أزكى لكم وأطهر. That is more pure and it is more both aska and athar. Athar means pure. Aska is more inner purity. Athar is outer purity. So you can say it's more pure and clean for you. Wallahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. Allah knows and you don't know. Now Allah is talking about radha'a. Radha'a is feeding your child, what a mother feeds her child. Allah is talking about those rules. Remember, radha'a is incredibly important. Today, nowadays, we've reduced our connection with there is the books of tafsir write, and the books of hadith write that when a mother feeds her child. Before I say this, let me say another story. It's your responsibility to bring me back onto this point. The point is about mothers and the feeding. Bayezid Bustami rahimahullah. Anyone heard of his name? He went and he was walking and there was a Jewish person giving a lecture. You know how they have their big stadium. And he sat there. Obviously Maulana Sahib has his own view. Bayezid Bustami was a very big man. They say he had very high maqam. Tens and thousands of people became Muslim at his hands. Tens and thousands of them. And not like how we make people Muslims. You know how we make people Muslims? Shahada here, humne kisi ko Islam laaye. Not real. Bayezid Bustami. There's so many stories of his that are coming to my mind right now, but slowly we'll go through them, inshallah. Bayezid Bustami rahimahullah. So he was sitting there, they saw him, and the Yahudi stopped. He said, no, there's one person here that's not supposed to be here. Get him out of here. Bayezid was quick brought him, and he's about to leave. And he said, no, wait, I want to debate him. He said, do you accept my challenge? Yes, we accept your challenge. He said, okay, comes on top. The man says, okay, I have some questions, can you answer? He said, yes, inshallah, if Allah wills. He said, what is one and not two? He said, Allah is one and there is no two. He said, what is two and not three? How many of you heard of this story before? Raise your hand. You heard it from me probably. One, two, you heard it from me as well. Oh, this is a good story. So he says, what is one and not two? He said, Allah is one and there is no two. He said, what is two and not three? He said, Allah has created day and night, there is no third, there is two and no three. He said, what is three and not four? He said, Allah created three things with His hand, the pen, the kursi, and the arsh, there is no fourth. He said, what is four and not five? He said, Allah created the four holy kitabs, Tawrat, Zabur, Injil, Quran, there is no fifth. What is five and not six? He said, Allah created five salahs, there is no six. He said, what is six and not seven? He said, Allah created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and there is no seven. He said, what is seven and not eight? He said, Allah created 7 heavens and 7 earths, there is no eight. He said, what is 8 and not 9? He said, there are 4 angels holding on to the arsh of Allah right now, and on the day of judgment, 8 angels will be holding on the arsh of Allah. He said, what is 9 and not 10? He said, there were 9 people who were the mischievous people who planned to slaughter the camel of Salih alayhi salam. There was no 10. He said, what is 10 and not 11? He says that Haji who doesn't have an animal to sacrifice, he will fast 3 days in Hajj and 7 days when he comes back. Those are 10 days, there is no 11. He said, what is 11 and not 12? He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Yusuf alayhi salatu wa salam 11 brothers, there is no 12. He said, what is 12 and not 13? Allah has created 12 months and there is no 13. He said, what is 13 and not 14? He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed Yusuf alayhi salam 13 objects in his dream, 11 stars, a sun, a moon, there was no 14. And Bayezid says, can I ask you a question? And he says, sure. He said, what is the key to Jannah?
And the man stayed quiet. And everyone said, whoa, you just asked him a whole mathematical equation. This man just kept on going on. And now he asks you one question, you don't know the answer? He said, if I give the answer, you all leave me. He said, no, we're going to follow you. He said, the key to Jannah is Muhammad Rasulullah. He said, this is what was written in our Torah, in our Kitabs. He is Nabi Akhir al-Sunnah. He is the Nabi we're waiting for. But if we become the Nabi, then we lose the positions we had. Imagine being an alim of another deen. And then finally Nabi came, now you're nothing. You're just like everyone else. And you know, kursi ka masla hai. Everything is about the chair. Kursi ka masla hai. Everything is about my spot, meri jagah. That's it. And to I pet, I j. What can I eat? And what can I put in front? Those are two things, that's it. I put in these little Urdu words for all of you to keep your attention. So, when he said that, the entire congregation brought Islam. Everyone that was sitting there. There are many stories of Bayezid Bustami. Rahimahullah. His mother once said to him, she said, Beta, all of the accomplishments you have are not your kamal, they're my kamal. And he said, what do you mean? He said, I never fed you milk without being in the state of wudu. The muhaddithin and the mufassirin write, when a mother feeds her child, she's not only feeding her milk, feeding the child milk, but she is feeding the child her akhlaq, her atwar, and the connection between the child and the mother. But today we've reduced it to Simlac, or whatever it's called. If the connection isn't there from birth, where is the connection going to come later on? These are one of the sunnahs. The Prophet ﷺ was sent out specifically to Da'i Halima, specifically to spend time with his mother, and particularly for this reason of akhlaq and atwar. Your children's akhlaq and atwar are your responsibility. Anyway, so these ayats are about rada'ah. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi says rada'ah is 30 months. All the other imams say 2 years. Aisha radiallahu rada'ah has few rulings with it. If two people share the same milk, while they're under 2.5 years old, then they are established as children, as siblings. So for example, if Zayd, who is someone else's child, and Khadija, who is someone else's child, they drink milk from the same person, they become siblings. Which means they can't get married to one another. Okay? They don't inherit, they can't get married. Now, imagine you have Zayd, you have Khadija. Zayd is 10 years older than Khadija. Can they still be siblings? Radari siblings? It doesn't have to be same time. They can be. And people go a little more advanced these days in age. Someone asked me the other day, can I freeze it so when I have children, then my children and my brother's children become brothers and sisters? Technically speaking, yes. Technically speaking. Aisha radiallahu anha, there's about 6 opinions that she has which is against mainstream. One of her opinions is that you can be older, like our age, and still establish brother and sister connection if you have milk. She was the only person of this opinion, no one else had it. Rada'atul Kabir. And there's a reason, because there's a hadith of Ibn Majah. She had a relative that came. And there was a bit of like, I don't know, is he my mahram? Is he my mahram? Is he this? Is he not? But he was her mahram. And there was no. So the Prophet ﷺ, to quell her, said, Chalo, just give him some drops of milk that you've had from another person who, when you were growing up, and it will be okay. That was an isolated incident. She just give her calm in her heart. You know, someone is coming out, they do wudu, or someone who has a wudu problem, it just keeps on. What's the ruling for them? Do it 3 times and walk out. Don't do it a 4th time. Whether you think it's empty or not, don't worry, come and pray. Now if somebody else does it 3 times and they have a dry spot, it's, oh no, Mufti Wasim told me that if it even doesn't matter. No, I didn't say it for you. I told you for that particular man, who I know, and every time he's doing it very carefully, I know he's accomplished it, but there's waswasa in his mind. Anyway, وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ لِمَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يُتِمَّ الرِّضَاعَةَ. And the parents, they will feed their children for 2 years, 2 complete years, as long for those who want to fulfill رضاعة. وَعَلَى الْمَوْلُودِ لَهُ رِزْقُهُنَّ وَكِسْوَتُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. The father has to pay for the food at home and for the clothes and the shelter at home. Whether it's shelter of your body or shelter above your head. It's on the father's job. The mother does not have to feed her child. However, if she wants to feed her child, she has preference. Number 2, if the mother wants to get paid to feed her child, she has the right to get paid and take the same amount another wet nurse would generally take. There is an incident in the life of Rasulullah in Ibn Majah. I'm not aware of the one you're talking about. She had a nephew, Urwa bin Zubayr, who... If you remember who you heard it from, ask them. Dr. Akram Nadwi. Do you know which lecture of it is? So when you go to lectures, get that name and send it. With all due respect to Dr. Akram Nadwi, that's not a correct istidlal, because there's unanimity for the most part that Aisha Radhiyallahu anha's opinion here was at fault. That was her mistake. In this, Radha'at Kabir. That was her mistake. Otherwise, what are people going to start doing now? What does Allah say? وَالْوَالِدَاتُ يُرْضِعْنَ أَوْلَادَهُنَّ حَوْلَيْنِ كَامِلَيْنِ. Up till 2 years. Allah says it explicitly in the Quran. So, with Aisha on our head. But every human can make mistakes. And these are amongst the famous masail that it's a human. Only profession belongs to Allah. وعلى المولود له رزقهن وكسوتهن بالمعروف لا تكلف نفس إلا وسعها لا تكلف نفس إلا وسعها. No person is burdened more than they can bear. لا تضار والدة بولدها ولا مولود له بولده. Some mothers don't want to feed their children, especially younger women, especially in our culture. They don't want to feed their children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا تضار. You are not forced to feed your children. ولا مولود له بولده. No one is forced to do it. وعلى الوارث مثل ذلك. Whether the person has a mother or a father or another relative that oversees them, they're not forced. فإن أرادا فصالا عن تراض منهما والتشاور فلا جناح عليهما. What is the first major decision a parents make for their children? When will the child stop drinking milk? First decision. Right or wrong? This is the first major decision. You don't talk about your child going to college at that time. It's about when will you stop the milk? How does Allah say it? فَإِنْ أَرَادَا فِصَالًا. If you want them to stop, أَنْتَ أَرَادَا. Both of you want it. أَنْتَ رَاضٍ. And you are happy.
وَتَشَاوُرٍ, and you have consulted one another and other people, then you can do it. So Allah teaches us the pinnacle and the cornerstone of raising children, which is consult one another, get on the same page, and don't have differences in front of your children. Remember, if you are fighting in front of your children, then your children are learning how to fight with you. If you are yelling and arguing, then the children are learning how to disrespect the parent. They're learning it from you. That's why I advise parents, don't fight in front of the children. You have an argument? Behind closed doors. Would you fight in front of us? You wouldn't. You'd go and hide it. Your children are more worthy of having having your image in front of them than we do. So in front of your children, try to be don't get into that anger and that concept. It's very unhealthy for them. And it's very toxic. وَإِنْ أَرَدْتُمْ أَن تَسْتَرْضِعُوا أَوْلَادَكُمْ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذَا سَلَّمْتُمْ مَا آتَيْتُمْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. If you want to get someone else to feed the child, there's nothing wrong. Pay them, treat them well. Don't do free sabilillah. Do fi sabilillah. F-E-E. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. Fear Allah, be mindful of Allah, and know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware and knows all that you do. وَلِلَّذِينَ يُتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةَ أَشْهُرٍ وَعَشْرًا. For those whose husbands have passed away, the iddah is 4 months and 10 days. You will stay at your home, your children's home. If you have to move, you move one time out of necessity. But you're not supposed to leave in iddah. You're not supposed to ornate yourself and leave the home. You're not supposed to leave as much as possible, stay at home. And the purpose of it is, psychologically, you're able to get your mind at peace. Because when you come to the masjid, what is everyone going to say? Oh, very sorry to hear about you. You have more pain than the person in front of you. Sometimes we don't know how to translate. You see someone, and the faces we make has a whole effect. I was actually thinking about writing a kitab. Last night I was thinking about it. That how to give someone else condolences. How do you give comfort to another person? And that's, unfortunately, we don't know how to do this. We don't know how to effectively communicate words of comfort to someone in front of us. فَإِذَا بَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِيمَا فَعَلْنَ فِي أَنفُسِهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرٌ. If they have reached the time after 4 months and 10 days, they can get married to whomever they want. Allah knows. وَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِيمَا عَرَّضْتُمْ بِهِ مِنْ خِطْبَةِ النِّسَاءِ أَوْ أَكْنَنْتُمْ فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ. Okay, in this ayah, there are 4 things. There are 2 things, sorry. Action of the tongue and action of the heart. Allah mentions 2 actions of the tongue, and Allah mentions 2 actions of the heart in this ayah over here. Number 1 action is permissible, 1 action is not permissible. Allah says, وَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِيمَا عَرَّضْتُمْ بِهِ مِنْ خِطْبَةِ النِّسَاءِ أَوْ أَكْنَنْتُمْ فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ. Number 1 is your tongue. You hint towards it. A hint is okay. For example, I'm sure there's many people, that will take care of your children, this and that, inshallah. This is okay. Not okay is, when do your 4 months and 10 days end? Have some haya. So don't approach someone in the iddah. While they're going through the iddah, don't approach them. After the iddah, then you can speak to them. Number 2, aknantum. This has to deal with the heart. So khidbah with the tongue, a hint, permissible. In the heart, it's in your heart, you want to marry this person. You have a desire for it. It's okay. You can have a desire in your heart. عَلِمَ اللَّهُ أَنَّكُمْ سَتَذْكُرُونَهُنَّ. Allah knows you're soon going to mention it. It's fine. وَلَكِنْ لَا تُوَاعِدُوهُنَّ سِرًّا. Don't make promises. Look, after this is done, we're going to get married. I want to marry you. No. Haram. You cannot say that. Iddat is going on. Let her time finish and then you can mention it.
So first thing, tongue and heart. With the tongue, khidmat al-nisa, ishara you did. Allah says it's permissible. In the heart, you want to marry her, permissible. However, the next two things are not permissible. Number one, تُوَاعِدُوهُنَّ سِرًّا, that a person makes a verbiage or they say something and they put the words of marriage in front of her. Allah says no. إِلَّا أَن تَقُولَا قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا. But it's okay to be nice to her. You can be gentle, you can help her out, bring food, bring this, bring that. It's okay to be nice, but don't go in and try to show that you want to get married to her. وَلَا تَعْزِمُوا عُقْدَةَ النِّكَاحِ. And this is to deal with the heart, which is that a person already has the nikah papers ready, venue ready, food, catering, tasting the cake already, and is just waiting for the 4 months and 10 days. This stretches in all iddas. Right? Even though it's talking about the iddah of death, but this is all iddas. One of the biggest issues in the Muslim community today is infidelity. This is one of the largest issues in the Muslim community and one of the leading causes of divorces, infidelity. And a lot of it occurs because we've normalized communication between other people's spouses. We've normalized communication between other people's spouses. وَلَا تَعْزِمُوا عُقْدَةَ النِّكَاحِ حَتَّى يَبْلُغَ الْكِتَابُ أَجَلَهُ, until her iddah is not done. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ فَاحْذَرُوا. Allah knows what's in your heart. You can't cheat Allah. Allah says, وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ مَا فِي أَنفُسِكُمْ. Allah knows what's inside your heart. فَاحْذَرُوا. Beware, be careful. وَاعْلَمُوا, but I know, O humans, you make mistakes. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ حَلِيمٌ. Allah forgives and Allah is compassionate and Allah excuses. لا جناح عليكم إن طلقتم النساء ما لم تمسوهن. Okay, what happens if you get married to a girl and before even touching her, you divorce her? There are two scenarios. Number one is that there was no meher stipulated. There was no meher stipulated. It happens a lot for some reason in our writings. A lot of times people go, discuss the dowry. When people come to me to get the marriage and nikah, I'm like, what's the dowry? Dowry? I don't know, $100 to... What is this? This is a joke. See? Yeah. Yes. No. The people, it is mashhur in people that when we get married, what meher should you give? What kind of meher? Meher? All meher is shari'i. Muajjal is when you're going to pay it. But what's the terminology of the meher they usually give? Meher? Fatimi. Is that sunnah? It's not the actual sunnah. There's some mistakes that everybody makes. Scholars, everyone makes. This one of those. Is the asl sunnah what Ali radiallahu anhu did or what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam got married 11 times. In 10 of them he had the same meher. Only one of them, Najashi, gave the meher. And because Najashi gave the meher, he was a king, so he gave a huge meher. But besides that, the Prophet ﷺ gave every one of his 10 wives the exact same meher. So the meher that the Prophet gave his wives is the actual sunnah. Chalo, since Ali radiallahu anhu gave it to Fatima radiallahu anha in front of the Prophet ﷺ, we can consider it a sunnah. But the sunnah is what the Prophet gave his wives. لا جناح عليكم إن طلقتم النساء. There's nothing wrong if you've divorced your wives. ما لم تمسوهن. You haven't touched them at all. You haven't established relationship. According to the Ahnaf, there is two things. They don't consider physical touch to be the only way of touching a woman. They have something called khalwat sahiha. Khalwat sahiha means that a husband and a wife had privacy and enough privacy that they could have established marital relationships, whether or not they did or not, that's separate. But they had the opportunity to do so. If they have the opportunity, then they fall under the same hukum as if they have established it. Because we don't know, and we can't take your word for it. So we have to do a hukum on the zahir. You were alone, khalas. We're not going to go and ask you, did you accomplish something or not? It's out of the adab and the etiquette.
ما لم تمسوهن أو تفرضوا لهن فريضة, or you set a meher for them or a dowry for them. وَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ, give them a gift of a pair of clothes. Allah teaches us one thing. When divorce happens, give divorce in the best of manner. Give a gift to one another. Leave on the best of terms. But what do? Alimony this and court this and lawyers that. The man doesn't spend this much on his wife in the whole course of the marriage as much as he gives to her lawyer. And the wife doesn't spend as much on the husband as she does to give to the lawyer. Try to work it out. If you cannot, go for counseling. You have Imam Azhar, you have Sheikh Asarad. Go sit in their counseling, listen, talk to them. Get help. Everyone needs help. Don't be arrogant. وَمَتِّعُوهُنَّ, give them some type of garment or some cloth, or give them a gift. عَلَى الْمُوسِعِ قَدَرُهُ وَعَلَى الْمُقْتِرِ قَدَرُهُ. For the one who is wealthy, he can go to Giorgio Armani. وَعَلَى الْمُقْتِرِ قَدَرُهُ. And for the one who is struggling, he can get from Amazon. مَتَاعًا بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. These are common and popular things. These are things that is recognized and everyone knows what's right and what's wrong. حَقًّا عَلَى الْمُحْسِنِينَ. It is an obligation for those who have good inside them. The one who has spite and anger and these things, they're going to fight about it and they're not going to care, and they're going to drag the divorce in the dirtiest manner possible. وَإِن طَلَّقْتُمُوهُنَّ مِن قَبْلِ أَن تَمَسُّوهُنَّ وَقَدْ فَرَضْتُمْ لَهُنَّ فَرِيضَةً. You divorced them, but you haven't touched them yet. Meaning khalwat sahiha didn't happen. However, you had also appointed a meher. You said, I'm going to give you $1,000 meher. In the first ayah, in ayah number 236, you did not mention the dowry. In ayah number 237, you did mention the dowry. Both scenarios, you did not establish relationships with your spouse. وَقَدْ فَرَضْتُمْ لَهُنَّ فَرِيضَةً فَنِصْفُ مَا فَرَضْتُمْ. You have to give them half the meher. إِلَّا أَن يَعْفُونَ أَوْ يَعْفُوَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ عُقْدَةُ النِّكَاحِ. Unless they forgive it. What does this teach us? Number one, it is the husband's responsibility to fulfill the meher. And he shouldn't wait for the wife to forgive it. Because he owes his wife. And a wife's obligations begin after the meher is given. Technically speaking, a wife can limit her obligations to her husband if the meher isn't given. Not that I'm encouraging anyone to do this or that, but I'm just giving you a fiqh ruling, right? This is the fiqh aspect of it. What some people used to do, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says over here, if they forgive them, that is good. That's up to them. May Allah reward them. Back in the day, to protect divorce, they would say that you have to give my daughter 1,000 pounds of mosquito wings. मेरी बीवी बेटी को तलाक दिया, अब मच्छर मारो. You divorced my daughter. I'm aware of the time. You divorced my daughter from the ahkam of adhan. While dars is going on, the adhan can happen afterward. The adhan is it's based on the imam's time, when the imam says to give the adhan. We all know over here, we're already here for the salah. It's not like anyone is coming from outside. Allama Shami rahimahullah in Radd al-Muhtar even writes that during adhan, if dars is going on, you can continue the dars and then stop at the end and then give jawab to the adhan. Ilm is the sifat of anbiya. Anyway. So they used to make unrealistic mehers and dowries. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade them from making unrealistic mehers and dowries and make reasonable. That's why meher has to be male mutaqawwam. According to the Hanafi fiqh, meher has to have a net worth to it. Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayhi and the other madahib, they say that meher can be, for example, you can say the dowry is memorizing Surah Rahman,
or the dowry is XYZ. It could be a khidmat or something of that sort. It could be a skill. Imam Shafi'i says that, and the other aim I do. Imam Abu Hanifa says it has to be mali mutaqawwam. It has to be something that has a net value to it. And that's a different discussion. The main thing that I want to say is the next 4 words that Allah says, 5 words that Allah says. I advise all you sisters to take this ayah, and especially this part, make it a picture and put it inside your homes. This ayah is a very powerful ayah. After talking about talaq, you know what Allah says? وَلَا تَنْسَوُا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ. Don't forget all the things you've done for one another. وَلَا تَنْسَوُا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ. In the beginning of marriage, he pulled the seat for her. She was waiting to eat with him. Made the bedroom with new mattress and comforter. Cleaned this home. Brought her this ring and this thing. Things didn't go well afterwards. It's okay. But don't forget. You know the word fadl in Arabic literally means the little extra. The small extra thing. Fadl. It also means virtue, fadail, but fadl literally means the little bit extra stuff. So Allah is saying, وَلَا تَنْسَوُا الْفَضْلَ بَيْنَكُمْ. And don't forget the small things you have done for each other. إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. Your husband or wife may forget what you did for them, but Allah hasn't forgotten it. Don't ruin those deeds by creating anger and animosity and ruining the entire culture of the community based on a divorce. Then after that, Allah talks about salawat. He brings the ayat of salawat in the middle of the ayat, at the end of the ayat of nikah, to remind you that a family that prays together stays together. Praying together is the backbone of every single family. And inshallah, we will continue this on Saturday after Dhuhr and Sunday after Dhuhr as well. If you have not bought the youth iftar tickets for your children, please do so. And that night we have a youth qiyam till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning. So please do come and bring your children for the qiyam, and do come for the qiyam as well. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. On the terminals, on the Mohit terminals.